My name is Patience Ogumbono. I'm a transformational coach, trainer, and an inspirational speaker. I am also the founder of Aspire, Transform, Inspire. And my passion is to empower, enable people to gain an awareness and get breakthrough. And through that breakthrough, they are able to get clarity and build their confidence. Then they begin to produce positive outcomes and results, what some would regard as success or fulfillment. So welcome and thank you for coming. My name is Patience Ogumbono. The word inspire for me means that I have been inspired to change and transform my life, and I would love to inspire others to do the same, hence being a transformational speaker. Today you're here to join me to talk about the Maxwell Speakers Club. So it's a new club in Ashford. It's something you haven't heard of before. However, there are Maxwell Speaker Clubs across other parts of the world. We do have a branch in London, and my colleague could have been here today, but he was unable to make it. But we'll be talking about the Maxwell speaking method as well, which is different, and you will get to know more about it. So before I start, one of the questions there is, natural speaker. Anyone can speak. Are people natural speakers? That's the question. And to answer that, because it's a speaker club workshop, I am not just going to be doing the speaking on my own. I'm going to get you involved as well. So the first thing is to tell me your name, what you do, and your favorite, either you can choose a book, an actor, car, film, or place of holiday. And when you've done that, just tell me what you think. Are people born natural speakers or not? So over to you. I'll start with you. Tell us.
And this whole favorite book.
Tell us your name first.
My name's Rotimi Ogumbono. I'm a university student at the moment. Okay, so next one. So I'd say my favorite place to go on holiday would probably be Orlando, because of the Disney and Universal. So very pretty, magical.
Great, I love Disney too. And who's taking you to Disney? Okay, so do you think people are born naturally speakers? They're people who just naturally are good at being speakers, or what's your view?
Not necessarily. I'd say that people usually require maybe some sort of inspirational practice or something else in life that would help them gain confidence from somewhere. But in order to be a speaker, you need to have confidence. Anybody can be a speaker as long as they have some confidence. But if they don't have that, then obviously they'll be able to. So I don't think it's natural. There's other things that could affect it, that can turn them into speakers.
Well, yeah. Confidence, we shall be looking at things like that. Inspiration, we shall be looking at that as well. So thank you for that. Nice to have you. So share with us.
Oh, well, my name is Sandra. I'm a solicitor. And I think I'm going to go with you. My favorite place of holiday is Tuscany.
Ooh, I've never been there.
It's the most beautiful place on earth. Well, that's my opinion anyway. So, in terms of are people natural speaker? Well, it depends on the level of speaking you're talking about. I mean, everybody can speak. If you're not dumb, you can speak. Well, if you're talking about public speaking, then that's another level of speaking. So, no, people are not natural public speakers. It's something you have to learn and perfect along the way.
Interesting. So, well, I guess the view is quite interesting, because in some places I have been, people say, oh, they're so natural. That means they, kind of were born with it. And that's something we can be looking at in terms of how do you have the right attitude to be able to develop the things that you need in life. So, having told me about yourselves, I'll tell you about myself. So, I have told you that I set up the company called Aspire, Transform, Inspire. However, my own journey to finding my voice was a very big one. In Africa, when you are somebody who is gobby and you love to talk, you know, you have to be careful not to lose your teeth, basically. You hear things like, shut up, or adults are speaking. And I was a very opinionated person. I had my own views. And that was difficult because they would say, where adults are talking, should you be putting your mouth, go away, you know? And you talk too much. Gradually, I found that it was difficult for me to express my opinion. It was difficult for me to have a view, really. And so I began to be more or less quiet. Gradually, as I got older, that transformed into lack of confidence, lack of being able to express my opinion for fear of being judged. And as the years went by, that also affected access. You know, the moment you're not confident enough to be able to express your own opinion or be able to take advantage of things, then you can lose out. So finding my voice was very difficult. When I got to my 30s, I began to go on a journey of, I need to make changes. I need to find a life that I'll be happy living. And from then on, it's taken me over the years, 15 years and everything else, but I got into the point where I'm expressing my true self, my potential. Hence, some of the things I'm birthing is the real me. And part of that transformation also happened in April 2016. But that also came about after the experience when I lost my mom. I began to say, what's the meaning of life, you know? What are you going to do with the dreams that you hold? And so I joined the John Maxwell team in April 2016. After joining, as I realized that I love to speak, and there must be some kind of gifting that will also enable me to do that. But I also knew that the UK is different from the USA, where John Maxwell is based. So I thought, why don't I look at opportunities here as well? So I went to the Public Speaker University training with Andy Harrington. He has his own style. As you would imagine, everybody has their style. And it's a good style too, nothing wrong with it. And I have been able to glean that. Then, in order to expand myself as well, I've gone along and put myself up for competitions. I've done some keynote speaking. And as a result of that, you would find that in this speaker club, there are two people. John Maxwell himself would be part of what you'll be experiencing as part of the speaker club. But you've also got Roddy Galbraith, who is the speaker, coach, mentor. And I went through some mentoring with him to be able to get into the stage time to speak in Orlando, which I did. It was biggest stage. I was able to speak there. Not in the bigger stage, but as a quarterfinalist, I was able to take part and do some speaking. And I'm entering the competition in August. The main thing about me choosing to do this and set up the club is I've always been fascinated by people's stories. You know, I lean in, I listen, you know, wide-eyed right from when I was a child. And I'm passionate about people finding their voice, finding their potential, finding their purpose. So for me, the question around natural speaking. So nobody becomes good automatically when it comes to public speaking, when it comes to presenting. You can have that potential better than others. So for example, extroverts might be very quick to be able to express themselves than introverts. So it can have something to do with personality. However, to be able to develop, you know, better, and also because I know that I will go to tell you about the club, but part of what I'm doing here is to add value to you, because as John Maxwell will say, give a heart before you ask for a hand. So if you've taken your Friday evening to come out and spend it with me, I am hoping that I'll be able to put some value and give you some value to take back. So we're going to just look at some things that are maybe nuggets that you can take back for yourself, whether you decide to join the club or not. Hopefully you have used your time wisely. So we've got the learning process. Now we learn a lot of stuff because, you know, we're not necessarily conscious of the things we take in, maybe from the way people have influenced us, the way things have happened in our lives, and we just take those things in and they become behaviors. We also learn from experiences. The other thing to realize is that opportunity can speed or slow down learning and growth. By that, people can be proactive to take advantage of an opportunity to move forward with their learning, or you can decide to step back into comfort and not allow that opportunity to yield any learning. And the truth is, we all learn in different ways. One of the things about the Maxwell Speaker Club is the fact that it allows you to develop your potential organically. So it's not robotic in the way that you develop your potential for speaking. So the equation here says opportunity, time, and repetition equals learning. So learning is a process, and you go through it over time, and you get better. Here is a quote that kind of explains neurological organization is a process. You can speed that process up or slow it down. So that is what I have said, that you can either access proactively, or you just wait for things to come to you or pass you by. So when learning, again, why is learning important? In the world today, change is the main thing that is constant. And Eric Hoffer says that in a world of change, the learner will inherit the earth, while the unlearned will find themselves perfectly suited for a world that no longer exists. Look at mobile phones. Within 6 months, they brought out a new one. You've got to learn the new buttons, the new features, to be able to move on with the times, to be able to use the functions others are using to speed up their life. So learning is something that if you avoid it, you get left behind. And one of the key skills that we need in life is the ability to express ourselves and our opinions, to be able to move forward, whether in business, whether in work, or generally, I know that what speaking has done for me is to unlock the other elements of my life that has allowed me to kind of explode and expand in my potential. One of the key things about learning is you got to unlearn to learn. It's like a replacement. So basically, you have, like we said, learning can come from you being unconscious. You can have unconscious and conscious learning. So unconsciously, you're picking things from the environment. They become hardwired. They become behaviors. And these behaviors are hardwired, and more difficult, they are internal. Some of them are hidden beneath the surface, and therefore you have to unlearn them. Then you've got learning is external, and it's easier. So the truth is, Alvin Toffler has said the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write. Of course, when you can't read and write, there is a level of illiteracy. But the way the world is going, if you're not somebody who is constantly learning, unlearning, relearning, adjusting, adapting, then you will definitely be left behind. So there is an exercise here that I've got, and this exercise kind of explains how difficult it can be in terms of our conditioning to be able to change things. The truth is, when for example, I told you I entered into the competition for speaking, when I first submitted my video to the coach, I said, no way will he come back with points because I've been doing this now. And he came back and he really trashed it. And I thought, what? I was really kind of like, and I thought, no way can I improve on this. But before I knew it, I was able to adjust my ways of behavior. And within a 5 process of mentoring, I changed. But I didn't realize some of the things I was doing naturally. That leads us to talk about, majority of speaking has a lot to do with our behaviors and then the perception. So as you're looking at me, obviously, whatever I'm portraying, you are noticing it. And the truth is, to be able to make impact and have influence when it comes to speaking, you need to understand this kind of percentages. So this Professor Albert, a psychology professor of UCLA, has broken down the percentages in terms of public speaking. You have body language, which is 55% of public speakers' approach, the different styles that you have. And like I said, with the Maxwell Speaker Club, it's about organically helping you discover your potential so that you can use your body in the right way and it's not awkward because you're mechanical or things like that. And then you've got voice, which body and voice kind of fall into the behavior. So it's tonality. When I went to the when I went to the Andy Harrington training, they talked about the fact that we have what is called archetypes. And these archetypes, you have the warrior. The warrior would, talk to you with a high tone and all that stuff. And then you've got the lover, gentle. You gotta be nice, or you've got the sage, that will be a wisdom person, and say, this is life. This is how life should be. Or you've got the jester who makes a lot of jokes and is very animated. And a good speech will have a mixture of these embedded in it. If you have warrior all through, which sometimes you can have Africans, it's like shouting at you like sermon or something, it can cause that switching off and things. And you've got words. Words is just 7%. People are looking at you, they're taking in all other sorts of things. The other thing, therefore, is when you're speaking, you're a messenger, you've got a message, and you're delivering to an audience. So as a messenger, you want your message to be heard by the audience. You want their perceptions to be right. So that is what you're going to be working on. In Speaker Club, you're going to improve on all of these things, including words as well. I noticed you mentioned confidence, Rotimi. Yes, to be able to deliver properly, confidence is through preparation. There's no other way you build confidence. How do you know that you can do what you can do? Some people say confidence. They used to say confidence means conning people to think that you are, what you are. But I think I define confidence as the conviction of your potential, because you have worked at it and you have gained an awareness of it. Therefore, you are confident and you're convicted that you can do what you said you can do. So I don't like the word con because that's negative, but conviction, on the other hand, is a positive word. So, but when you've prepared, you know that what is in your control, you can control. Beyond that, it's outside of your control. So confidence comes from preparation. Preparation is so important when it comes to speaking. And the other thing is we discussed, are they natural speakers? Unfortunately, the opinion we had in the room was that you have to learn, you have to build on whatever potential you have. Nobody is born naturally being able to walk on stage. For example, John Maxwell, he's one of the top paid speakers, as you would hear when I run the promotional video. But he's been doing this for 30 years. He's learned his own style. And his own style comes from, as a messenger, for example, these are some of the characteristics. If you're a messenger, you have the character of the speaker is some of the things that will come out, the body language, the vocal delivery, the charisma, the personality, accessibility, and vulnerability. So, for example, John Maxwell's style is very relaxed. He sits on a bench. That's a no-no in some places. But like you would see, he's one of the highest paid because it doesn't look awkward. There's this lady I watched on TED Talk called Chidinma, the one that wrote the Yellow Sun thing. And one of her TED Talks, she was actually reading it, standing there reading it, like reading a book. But I watched her body language. She still was very emotive in her delivery. And she was able to get people to laugh, to pause and think, and all those kind of things. So as a messenger, your charisma, your personality, finding your style. John Maxwell would sometimes walk off the stage and sit at the edge of it. And then he would stand up. Sometimes he would bend down and go under the table. Different kinds of things. Accessibility and vulnerability. Words used. The kind of words you use to deliver your message. Are they interesting? Do you tell stories? Examples, humor, excitement, efficiency. Is it relevant to the audience? Then the other thing is when you get to the audience, when I first started learning presentation, one of the things I was told is, don't worry about your performance. Worry about the people in front of you. What are they going to get from you? The moment you begin to focus on the people, your performance doesn't matter to you because you're giving value. So meet people where they are, connect on common ground. I went recently for a networking event and the lady walked up to the stage. The first thing she said was, have you ever been told to go for a networking event and when you get there, you want to improve your business? The first 5 people you speak to are doing the same business. And suddenly you realize this is not networking for me to get business. This is competition for me to fight and throw other people down. The moment she said that, it's like she connected with many of us in the room, many entrepreneurs. You know, that was a connecting story straight away. You need to find those kind of nuggets to be able to share with people, to connect with them where they're at and meet them. Solve their problem. She went along to solve our problem. Interesting to them, credibility. Have you walked that same kind of journey? Relevant. Who is your target audience? Because it's not always going to be about business. If you're going for a meeting, if you're going for a presentation, you want to be able to deliver the right things to your target audience. So now, hopefully, I've talked about learning, I've talked about delivery, I've talked about what public speaking is about. So in Ashford, we don't have a speaker club. We have Toastmasters around, and people might say, oh, there are so many things around the place. I agree. So there's so many, but variety is the spice of life, and you can gravitate to what you think will be beneficial to you and useful to you, and what will really allow you. Like I said, the Maxwell Club is about organically developing your potential. So my ambition and dream, like I said, is to have a club that will enable people simply go on a journey of self-discovery, to be able to find themselves. If you look at the flyers I have in front of you, I have put in there to be able to move from your comfort zone to your empowerment zone. Now, hopefully I can play this video as a promo video if you've not seen it in the advert, or maybe you've seen it, just so.
We've all been in the room when a pin drop could be heard as people hung on every word delivered by a speaker. The impact and influence that a speaker wields is exponential power because that speaker drives the captivated audience to action. The great speakers in life virally propagate ideas, and their talents benefit the audience and the speaker alike. The path to becoming an impactful speaker who gains the attention and respect of the audience is the Maxwell method of speaking. John Maxwell is the highest paid non-entertainment, non-celebrity speaker in the world. He has spoken to millions of people, and he's the recipient of the coveted Golden Gavel Award. Roddy Galbraith, an internationally known master speaker and coach, has broken down the Maxwell speaking style into 26 key components which teach the art of speaking. Learn the art of developing and sharing stories. Disseminate information in a way that holds the listener's attention as you connect with the audience. And if you struggle with a fear of public speaking, the Maxwell method of speaking will help you conquer it. Remember, you can't walk the leadership path with your mouth closed. You owe it to yourself, your organization, and your audiences to up-level your speaking skills. The Maxwell method of speaking. Connect with your audience.
Okay, so that is the promo for what you get. So what to expect from the Speaker Club? Joining the Speaker Club, as they said there, storytelling. I think that's one of the big advantages of the Maxwell method, is the ability to transform a story into a lesson for people. How to draw out lessons from simple stories. The other thing is to do it in quite a punchy, short time frame is something that I have benefited from in terms of the coaching. And like, what's going to happen is you're going to have access in that club to Roddy Galbraith himself, providing the training through videos, and then John Maxwell himself kind of role-playing that lesson so you can see how it's done in real terms. And then we'll have the facilitation, which I'll do a lesson afterwards, and we'll have some practice that you would practice. So there'll be support and encouragement, teaching from Maxwell himself, experiential learning. So there'll be about 29 lessons, live feedback and critique through the speeches. So opportunity from the very beginning to actually start developing speeches and developing stories. Practical topics and assignments. So there'll be things to go back and do that will improve the speaking. And again, it's an international club. So there's participation and opportunity. My colleague, I was saying in the beginning, my colleague in London has set up. So this club I'm working on setting up will be, as far as I'm aware, the second Maxwell club in the UK. Other countries do have Maxwell clubs already set up. But, you know, his London one has taken off. You know, he started a few months. I went to see him. So with that, I have the opportunity in my club to actually collaborate with him for people to bounce off each other, you know, kind of have a day of meet up and do competitions, and let's see how you can actually improve, get critique from a neutral group. So having that plan, I had said to him, come along today, but he has his own business, thriving business as well, and so he couldn't make it today. But then you have the opportunity to participate in competitions. Again, how it works, wherever you start, we meet you wherever you start with the club, whatever time you start. And you learn and grow through the active participation and real-time feedback. Now, I have mentoring every week with Roddy Galbraith. So if there is, my intention is to set up a membership site that people can go and say, dump up videos to be critiqued of you speaking and things. And where I think, oh, maybe I need some suggestions from Roddy, give him a call and he will be able to give back some feedback that will be useful for the person as well. You receive the modeling and the teaching. So in the videos, you see John Maxwell himself modeling the style, Roddy explaining how that style translates. Hopefully, as the club develops, that's my dream and my hope, that you connect with like-minded people and bounce off each other. Currently, the plan is to have the club run on the Thursdays, 6:30 to 7:45 p.m. And also, venue will be dictated by the number of people, you know, that are in the room. So it might need just a very small space or grow into a big space, don't know. But all things are, you know, changeable and flexible. The cost, these are costs that are set across for every club you go to. This is the converted value per month. So basically what this gives you is all the access to the training, the membership site, the critiquing of the videos, the opportunities to do the competitions. So that's the cost for joining the club. What are some of the payoffs for somebody developing their speaking? On a personal level, you will learn how to connect with people, but you connect with your own inner self. The more you find your voice, the more you find your confidence, the more you clarify your story, you build your confidence, you increase your speaking skills, whether be it presentation or just public speaking or, you know, whatever speaking you want to do. The interesting thing about this speaker club, it says there's speaking and there's leading as well. So what that means is, because John Maxwell is a leadership coach, and again, he's the #1 leadership expert in the world, according to Gurus 30, you know, there are different kind of standards anyway. So he's the #1. Therefore, whatever is going on within the club also helps you to build your leadership skills. And it helps you to move from your comfort zone definitely into your empowerment zone. I know that one of the keys that opened my potential and my ability and my confidence and my courage and my, you know, lion heart has come from the more I get better at my speaking, the more I feel I can walk into any room, I can talk to people. For example, I'm finding very strangely that if people said to me, come and stand and do a take for a video, and I haven't scripted it. This happened to me last week. And they said, oh, First and foremost, I was glad that I had dressed up because I was thinking I'm just going to casually working. It's a networking. Who am I impressing? But something in me just said intuitively, you can't go out networking not looking, sharp. So I dressed up. That was the first thing. Second thing, I got there, they said, oh, by the way, we're doing videos and the videos are going to be, recorded for you. And initially I thought for me, so I don't mind. So I stood there and I thought, I don't have any script. He said, just deliver. And I thought, okay, this will take at least 3 takes, And I just did the first take and he said, no, that's perfect. And I thought, really? Can't I do it again? He said, I'm telling you, don't bother because you said it perfect. And I was really surprised at that. But that's not me of previous. I can't even go to the room to suggest to do a video because I would think, I'm not good enough, so many things. I would be worried about what people think. I don't have that problem now because I have held my voice for too long. It's time to express it. And it doesn't matter what people think. I have an opinion and I matter. And so I've moved very firmly. I think I was saying to somebody the last time, my comfort zone is begging me so much, gagging for me to come back. And they say, where are you? And I'm thinking, I'm really flying at the seat of my pants, so to my empowerment zone. And then linked to leadership is influence. So you learn to influence people over time. What do your audience get from you from practicing and training and, developing your skill? Connection, you connect with people. You help people get insights when you deliver speeches and talk to them. You can have your approach of being funny. What I said about varying the experience. You take people from, the jester to the warrior so you have the shock, the sadness. Then my favorite word, I never leave home without it, inspiration. Inspire people. And then you motivate them as well. So that's some of the payoffs you get. So thank you so much for listening patiently to me. Pun intended, I would say, because it's patience versus patiently. So if any of you feel that you have a question to ask me about the club, feel free to ask. Otherwise, thank you so much for spending your Friday evening with me. That's a big thing.